I'm your host, Joey Clark. Eddie Bader in the house. How you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing wonderful. How you doing, brother?
Doing all right. Also, Brian Dawson.
I know,
founder
look at
of
this guy.
1819 News. He's in there.
Man, how's it going?
Kind of casual today, aren't you?
Yeah.
Extra casual. I got my Coastal Alabama shirt.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's looking good, especially this gentleman
look at here.
across from me. He's running for mayor of the great city of Montgomery. Barrett Gilbreath is in the studio. Barrett, how are you?
I'm well, man. Good to be here. Thank y'all for having me. I'm well. Didn't expect a crowd, but it's good. I like this.
Yeah, but sometimes it's a party. I have this open door policy.
I love it.
And let's just hope it's not a train wreck. But it's always a possibility. It keeps the show alive and having that edge. My first question is this. Since we've already kind of gotten to know you a little bit, since we last talked, I guess it's been a couple of weeks, few weeks, what does the campaign look like? Kind of tell the story how this campaign's developed, what you're hearing on the streets.
It has skyrocketed. And I guess at this point I can give you credit for that since that was the first interview I did.
I don't know about that.
No, it's been great, man. It's been the response has been positive. The yard signs are everywhere. Our ads are picking up steam. Our name recognition is going way up. That was my biggest hurdle getting into this race. Our message is being received positively. I think our message is for all of Montgomery, and everything has been just super positive.
Is there any one person who you've met who you didn't know before, it just sticks in the mind?
Yes, unequivocally yes. Her name is Daisy Fan. She is 94 years old, and she lives in North Pass. And she has reached out to me, and she has called me, and I have called her. She actually, this woman, she's a saint. She arranged one day, and I didn't even know it. She arranged about 8 people to be in her house in North Pass and called me, and I was actually walking into a meeting, so I couldn't take it. She thought I was going to be at her house. She called me back and got me on the phone for those 8 people to essentially have a town hall for 15 minutes and talk to me about questions they had for just specifically North Pass. She's amazing. I mean, so yes, if there's one person that sticks out in my mind, Miss Daisy Fan.
Well, because, I've done some local campaigns before many moons ago, and you always find that one person you had never known, and just the characters in the lives of people here in our great city. But to kind of give it back to you in terms of issues, are the issues you started out with being reflected back in the conversations you're having with folks?
Every single time.
And so crime would be the top thing.
When I go to, I've probably been in 10 or 12 HOA meetings. I went to several of the National Night Out events the other night, and every single time, the top issue is crime. It is. I mean, because it doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter political party. It doesn't matter race. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you live in. It's affecting everyone.
Right. It is affecting everyone. And I actually, just as homework, I listened back to our first conversation. We hit all these points on crime, on education, how you want to be the mayor of all Montgomery. But I guess we'll go here now because I also even gave you the opportunity. I asked you, when has Stephen Reed dropped the ball? And you sort of deferred what you don't want to go negative here.
Sure.
Is the sound to me. But it seems like when I look at, say, what the people around the mayor are doing, I haven't seen it from Stephen himself directly. Chip Hill, for instance, it's fairly negative, and it's gone to a place where I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed. And I'm showing folks, if you're watching the live stream now, it's a tweet from the chief of staff for the mayor of Montgomery, Chip Hill, and he is sharing a headline talking about how the city of Montgomery under Mayor Reed's leadership is being recognized for leading the state in economic development and job creation. And Chip writes this caption, folks. This headline with a white mayor in the city of Montgomery, and they would be talking about building him a statue instead of squandering opportunities by trying to find any white person to run against the mayor of Montgomery. It's just heartbreaking and sad, but we will be all right on the other side. And I could bring up more. There's all these op-eds that are now being written by the House liberals. What's your reaction to all this?
I hate it. I mean, I've said this before, that when I played football at Jeff Davis, my skin color never mattered in that locker room. It didn't. Mm-hmm. Nobody cared. It was about wins and losses. It was about practicing hard, and it was about giving your best for your teammates. And so to see this become the angle of the race, like you said, it's disappointing. I totally understand the $1.7 billion investment. I think it's fantastic from the likes of whether it's FedEx or the Amazon or the Inland Port or the Manna facility. The problem is when we talk to people, we're at a great intersection of two interstates,
Yep.
railroads, rivers. Those are logistical opportunities that came here because of the ease of moving product.
Right.
What's not coming here are the high-paying career opportunities that entice people to move here. See, trucks that go in and out of an intermodal facility don't spend money in hotels and don't have kids in schools and don't spend money in restaurants, nor do ships that offload containers. I think the economic development, the economic impact of those things are positive, and I think the county and the Chamber of Commerce and the city, like as a group, that was a win, right? $1.7 billion. Now, it's commitment, so it's not here yet, but it's a commitment. So I think that's a win. But it doesn't bring the high-paying career opportunities here, and that's where that's where I feel like the economic development, the job creation has to be, because right now those opportunities aren't coming here.
Right. Well, and just as a follow-up, one of the things that's essentially being, I'll just prefer to say it outright, they're essentially saying your top issue of crime is a dog whistle, that you're scared of certain people in this community. That's sort of the crass way they go about putting it.
That's sort of tough for me when we're on pace for 85 murders in this city, when last year it was 65, I think, which was actually down from the year before, which was in the 70s. But if you look at the last 3 years, 70-something down to 65, now up, like, that's not a dog whistle. Those are real
facts.
people and real families that have been impacted. That, again, that's not race for me. That's not political party for me. Those are real numbers and real families in this city who are affected by that information. I mean, I don't. So yeah, it's disappointing because it's not what I'm about. That's not why I'm here.
Right. Well, and so to turn this around, for folks who haven't heard haven't had the chance to talk to you, what is your vision for all of Montgomery? And it's a broad question, but you can take that however you like.
Maybe it's becoming cliche at this point because I've said it so many times, but it really is that I want Montgomery to be a place where every single person in this city is proud to call it home. That doesn't matter what neighborhood you live in. That doesn't matter your skin color. It doesn't matter your party affiliation. I truly believe every issue we face, whether it is education or crime, it all goes back to crime. Our real estate values goes back to crime. I was doing some research earlier. Education. I was doing some research earlier. If you look at, in the entire state, the dollars per pupil expenditure by the state on school systems, everyone wants to talk about, like, I'll give y'all a chance. What do you think people think? What school district do you think is the best one in the state?
The best one in the state.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Mountain Brook, right?
Mountain Brook.
Yeah, Mountain Brook.
All right. Mountain Brook per pupil expenditures by the State Department of Education, $6,068 per pupil. Montgomery County per pupil expenditure, $6,472. More money
Right.
per pupil than the Mountain Brook school system. So another one people talk about, Huntsville, $6,315. I'm sorry, Huntsville, $5,458.
Oh, okay.
Or even less.
Hoover, $6,315. Auburn, $6,369. Baldwin County, $6,264. Let me repeat Montgomery, $6,472 per pupil. Now, that's state funding.
Sure.
Doesn't include local. Okay? The difference there is property taxes. Here's what we don't talk about. Mountain Brook's property tax is about 0.7%. Montgomery's property tax is 0.430. Not a huge difference, right? Less than 0.3%.
And this is after the increase that was voted in that's about to go into effect.
That's correct. All right. So this is less than 0.3. Okay. The big difference between the local funding in Mountain Brook and the local funding from Montgomery, because the property tax percentage is not that great, it's the home values.
Correct. Yep.
And so if you take all of that and then you go and see, since 1998, home values in Montgomery are up 59.6%. The lowest relative property value raise in the country. Now, saying 59.6% doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people. There's another capital city out there called Austin, Texas. The same time period, since 1998, home values in Austin, Texas, while Montgomery's rose 59.6%, home values in Austin, Texas rose 354%.
Wow.
I believe a huge reason for the slow increase in our property values can be attributed to crime. Don't say it too loud. But those are real numbers. This isn't some theory. This isn't me saying it's about me. This affects everybody. That number doesn't matter if it's an east side neighborhood or a west side neighborhood. When property values drop, the percentage of property tax revenue drops. That directly impacts education. Now, we voted in a tax increase. It was fought. I mean, people fought against it, but I'm glad it got passed several years ago. But it doesn't change the fact that you can keep going up on your percentage if values keep going lower. It doesn't matter, right?
Right.
So people don't really want to talk about real numbers. And so you said it I'll use your word again. It's disappointing.
Right.
It's disappointing.
Well, because I think the average person in the city and pretty much anywhere else want the same basic things: that safety, that security, the opportunity economically, and of course the opportunity for good education for your children, so you can repeat the process and build a home and put down roots.
Yeah.
And so you lay that issue in particular, especially with property values not going up, and I'd imagine a few other problems on crime itself. We touched on this last time you were here, but just to reiterate it, we're budgeted for, we picked the number, 450, 490. 490. And we're quite short, I hear.
Under 350.
Wow. We're that short.
Yes.
So how do we get more officers? And is it just incentives, and I know that's a big part of the equation, or is it a cultural change at the department?
It's both. So from a culture change, we have to make sure our officers and first responders know we have their backs. No one wants to work for a company where the company doesn't feel they can do their job effectively and doesn't trust them to do the job they've been trained to do. So culturally, we have to have their back. We don't need, more oversight. We just don't need that. And when the officers believe they can do their job effectively, then we will get more recruits. But you're not going to do that overnight. You're over 150 officers short. It's not going to happen. So you have to get creative. There are other law enforcement agencies like the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department, like the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, like all the River Region communities. I will go to them and ask them how we can work together to police our city, to protect and serve our citizens until we get back to the numbers we are budgeted for. To your point about incentives, I think there's plenty of creative ways. I think there's billboards going right now that talk about referral bonuses for current employees who refer an officer. It's still, referral bonuses are tough when you have a culture that is of lack of support. But I think there are other things too. We should be working with financial institutions to help first responders who are willing to move here, willing to put down roots here. Yep. Let's work with financial institutions to help them with down payment assistance programs. It happens in other aspects. I mean, you hear about hospital systems helping with paying nurses, recovering their education, those types. We do that for education purposes with the police department. Let's help them buy a home. I'm not saying handouts. I'm not saying give it to them, but let's offer programs for these local financial institutions who are still in Montgomery. Let's offer some programs to help those people come in here and buy homes. That's a start, but we also have to make sure they know we support them.
Well, and just on a personnel basis, either way it goes, you're not say you are elected, you're not going to be stepping in there immediately going, get out Chief Albert. It's going to be more like, hey, let me assess the situation, tell me what you've been doing, these sorts of things, right?
Yes. It's sort of funny, but I've said this a lot, is no room have I ever walked in where I'm the smartest guy in it, ever. So the fact that I acknowledge that means day one, I'm not going in there putting people out. I need to understand what's going on with the personnel. I see what's happening in the numbers, but I want to talk to the people on the ground. I want to understand from Chief Albert. I want to understand your experiences from New Orleans. I want to understand your experiences the first couple years on the job here. I want to understand where you think our shortfalls are. I want to understand if you have a plan that you think we can work on together to fix it. And I'd love to support that. Does that mean he'll be receptive? I don't know. He might. He might not. But that's okay. I'm willing to have the conversation. That's a communication thing for me. It's a cooperation thing for me. I'm just willing to work with people to help solve the problem. Montgomery is not unique in the problems we face. Montgomery is unique in our inability to solve them.
Well said. Well said. And, I'll say this. We got to hit a break and we'll come back. Love to do more. And, folks, if you've got questions, 272-9228, if you have questions for Barrett. But I appreciate and I just scratched the surface of now some of the, I would say, the attack, negative stuff coming out. And so I think you have every reason now to want to attack back, but I didn't hear any right there. I heard you focusing on the issue, so I appreciate that kind of
You're welcome.
More news and views in just a moment. Welcome back, folks, to News and Views in the afternoon. We got a full house here, but interviewing candidate for Mayor of Montgomery, Barrett Gilbreath. Great having you here, Barrett. And
Happy to be here.
We have a call. He claims he's your number one fan.
Oh, cool.
Red Top is on the phone line. Hey, Red Top.
Barrett, you don't know who I am, but I'm the guy who put the signs up on the corner of Ann Street and the Atlanta Highway the past 2 days.
Well, I appreciate that.
So I've been talking to your wife a lot, and that may not sound exactly kosher, but it's for your election.
She's been handling sign logistics and doing a fantastic job.
She's a good friend with Rachel Barley. I bet you know her too.
Sure.
And, I'm going to take a look at her book tomorrow.
Oh, good.
So she's a big shot, bud. Let me mention one thing. Top priority. My rims have been sitting on the curb for a month. A month. I have called city sanitation 4 times. Nobody answers. The operator does not give a damn if my street stuff is picked up or not. They're so far behind that they're getting Froggy Bottom to come load the stuff up and take it away. And there's almost been no streets paved in this damn city since the other mayor took over. We need city services, guys. These guys aren't doing their job. And you know what? I told her, I said, I guess I'm going to place my limbs in the middle of the damn street, and then you'll have to pick them up, won't you? So, a severe dysfunctional city government we got here.
Well, Red Top, let me give you a real quick story because I think you'll enjoy this. This weekend, after our team was out knocking on doors, which we knocked on over 1,500 doors this weekend.
Wow.
Just hitting grassroots. I was back in the neighborhood and I ran across 3 crews in the neighborhood that were there picking up limbs on the side of the road. Now I know, trust me, there are piles all over the city, so they're trying to do it as best they can. I will say, I went out and talked to these guys. I went and bought a case of water, some Gatorades, and I went and talked to them. So interestingly, this was not the sanitation department. This was street maintenance.
Oh, really?
So they're all trying to chip in because we're so short-staffed and have equipment issues. These street maintenance guys. So I want to shout out street maintenance. There was a guy that was a tree guy. There was a guy that was a pothole guy, and there was a guy that was a mower. Mm-hmm. These are all street maintenance employees. On Saturday and Sunday, the paver, the tree guy, and the mower were on a big knuckle boom truck picking up limbs. Not their job, right? They're just out having to fill in. And then I went out and saw him again. So he tells me that if you want to come see a bigger group of the street maintenance guys, we're going to be paving Lower Wetumpka Road. He thought I wasn't coming. I showed up on Tuesday with about 20 more Gatorades, 15 or 20 street maintenance guys out there on 350-degree asphalt because they're, the melted asphalt. They got the steamroller, everything. Those guys are working hard. I want to tell y'all right now, street maintenance, sanitation, they're working hard. They're understaffed because people have left because of the morale in the department. they are working hard. We cannot be down on the employees in those departments because they are absolutely giving it everything they have.
Sir, it's obvious it's a management problem, not a personnel problem. So that's why
That
I'm
I'll agree with
asking
you.
Can you get the management straight? Because Montgomery has never had this problem before. I've been here a long damn time, and we've been through a lot of storms and hurricanes where the streets were covered, and this stuff would be picked up right away until this mayor. So the first time I've had experience this, and I have never had to call them to do that. They have come every Tuesday or Wednesday for 15 years at my house.
Yep.
And now it's been a month.
No, we need to do
this guy.
we need to do a better job with our equipment. We don't have any mechanics right now. Mechanics have left. So we need to do a better job there. We need to do a better job making sure that we don't have obsolete equipment. I've talked about doing a leasing program so that you don't run into these problems. So
Right.
the good thing about leasing programs is they actually come with maintenance.
Yep.
So we lease them instead of buy them. We have maintenance. We have new equipment every 3 or 5 years, depending on the leasing schedule. And so that's what we're running into now is old equipment that's broken down where we don't have mechanics to fix it, and then on top of that we're short staffed because of the just the environment in City Hall. So in the city departments. So there are plenty of areas for improvement.
Well, I appreciate the call, Red Top, and just to follow up on that, because I've heard this tale now about the current administration a few times, and help me out here, Barrett. When I hear say somebody was over Parks and Rec in that department for ages, and the Mayor Stevie Reed gets elected, and he decides, you know what, out with that person, in with the new, and whether it's a straight up, we don't need your services anymore, or I've heard the tale of, we're going to make your life so miserable you'll quit, we're going to put my guy in there, which isn't the craziest thing in the world. But here's where my mind goes and how I try to parse this stuff out. Is it actually like there are big problems within the department, or is it sour grapes of folks who have been in those positions a long time? Where am I getting this information? So just kind of underline the point. You're hearing this from like folks working within these departments. It's not maybe the folks who were kicked out of these departments.
No. This is from people who are still on the job. I mean, I took a picture with about 15 street maintenance guys on Tuesday when they were out paving Lower Wetumpka Road, and I said to them straight up, like, guys, I'd love to get a picture with you, but at the same time, like, I understand what's going on, and if you don't want to be in, no worries. Like, I totally get it. To a man, every single one of them said, absolutely not, I'm getting in your picture. I'm getting in your picture with you. I said,
wow.
Okay.
Good.
Well, then that does sound like a management issue. If you're getting a lot of folks who are doing the work there on the streets, saying stuff like that, that's incredible. We got to hit another break. Can you stick around another segment or two?
Yeah, man.
Well, again, folks, we're talking to Barrett Gilbreath. Before we hit the break, you need help volunteering? I know you've knocked on a lot of doors already, or donations, monetary help.
Yeah.
How can people do so?
All of that helps. Monetary donations, volunteers on the weekends to knock on doors, volunteers to make phone calls at night. Listen, guys, we've made over 40,000 phone calls. We've knocked on over 3,000 doors. So all that can be done on BarrettGilbreath.com. Follow us on social. Barrett Gilbreath for Mayor on Facebook and Instagram. There's a lot of content videos that are issue related, so go check out the content.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark, continuing our interview here with candidate for Mayor Montgomery, Barrett Gilbreath, and we're just looking at your website there, Barrett, and often with these websites there's the issues, your top issues, but you have like videos that go into these details online, right?
Yeah, we do on both our Facebook and Instagram. I mean, I think we filmed 8 or 9 specific issue specific videos. So if you go to Facebook, they're right there. So just go to Facebook on Barrett Gilbreath for Mayor and check out the issue videos.
Well, and one thing based on Red Top's call, we didn't quite get into more talk about personnel and management. But what about infrastructure in the city, from roads to anything else that comes to mind?
Well, we got to take a full inventory, right? So like I said, I went and met those guys down at Lower Wetumpka Road, and they're paving those roads. Now, a lot of the ones that people complain mostly about, Atlanta Highway, it's a state highway. So we got to figure out how that gets done. But there are some issues here for sure with street maintenance, but we will address those. Now,
one thing I've noticed when I've done those town halls with Ed Grimes, They write the questions. I'm a actor. I'm a clown. I just read the question. But the question we always get, often you get a pile of them asking the same question. What about the panhandling? What about the people on the interstate exits? Yada, yada, yada. Often in those town halls, the answer was, well, there was a court case. Our hands are kind of tied here. But are our hands still tied now?
Not as of August 1st. So there was a bill that went through the legislature this past session, signed into law by the governor, went into effect on August the 1st, which made the loitering on state highways and roadways illegal. So that actually went into effect August the 1st. Now it's up to the municipality, the sheriff's office, ALEA, all of those agencies can enforce this. And so they are not allowed to be standing there because it creates a public safety hazard.
And then is it up to the city, though, to enforce that?
Any of those agencies can. But, I mean,
okay.
obviously in the city, I think MPD would be sort of first line. But, again, I've never advocated for riding around in a truck and loading these people up and taking them to jail.
Right.
That's not what we're doing. But they're also there, if you think about this, they're on the roads, they're in those exit off-ramps because people give them money.
Right.
They wouldn't stand there in this heat in August in Montgomery, Alabama, if they weren't receiving things. So it's twofold. We have to stop giving them money. I want to put signs at these places that say, please do not give to those standing in the roadway as it creates a public safety hazard. Alternatively, go to this website.
I think we already have those, actually.
I haven't seen any signs.
You need "Don't
I've
feed
seen-
the bears" type signs.
Right.
Okay, they're just not prominent. I know, but I'm just saying that because they propped up a nonprofit saying exactly that. Give
Yeah.
to this, and then we'll help the folks.
The first place I saw those were in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, because my wife is from Louisiana. But they have them there, and there's a website at the bottom that says this is where these people can go get help, and this is where you can actually give money to help these people more. And so if they're not receiving anything from standing there, they won't continue to stand there.
No, that's a fair point. But let's go to Mike the trucker. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, yeah, I'd like to say that I don't believe what's the guy's name for mayor name?
Mine? Barrett Gilbreath?
Yeah, Mayoral. Yeah, he seems like a nice person and everything, but I don't believe you can stop crime. I don't believe Mayor Reed can stop crime. I believe the ones who had fought, the ones that let them out. Because I know a lot of guys that got felonies and still told them, you know. And I can't fault Mel Reed if a guy with a felony got a gun and go and kill somebody. I don't understand how that's the mayor's fault. Even if it was a white mayor, I don't understand how that can be your fault. Because if they got a felony and then went to jail, and you let them out early, then they go right back to the same thing. I'm 57. I grew up in Gilbreath. And I see guys still my age acting stupid and still doing the same thing like when we were 19. But you seem like a nice person. But only thing else I got to say, if you was to win, Mayor, I would not like to see my community flooded with police officers stopping people. Let me see your paper. When you pull up in a neighborhood, there go police to give it the roadblock, stopping you. Let me see your paper. It make me feel like I'm some type of Jew in German or something, and they asking for paper.
Mike, I appreciate the call, and I totally agree with you. What I would say is that we're not making any traffic stops. I'm not advocating for roadblocks or selective prosecution or anything like that, but I would like to see people who do 85 miles an hour down Vaughn Road get pulled over for a speeding ticket. That would be a start. And so I think if we can help supplement our officers in their ability to protect and serve, where we can actually make proactive traffic stops, I think you find some things that you're just not able to find right now because those traffic stops aren't happening. Because we want to talk about permitless carry. That doesn't apply to a felon. You're exactly right, Mike. You're hitting the nail on the head. It also doesn't apply to those under the age of 19. Those things are still part of the law, that you're not allowed to have a gun under the age of 19, or if you're a felon. So those types of things are issues you catch when you're just doing normal police work. And that's not roadblocks or hassling people without reason. That's not what we're talking about here. So Mike, I totally appreciate your call, and I 100% agree with you.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Mike. Yeah, good call there. And no, I appreciate that. I know there have been a lot of folks who I've been very frustrated. Like one video that sticks in my mind is it was like a whole caravan of cars and motorcycles, and two of the folks on the motorcycles just stop in front of the intersection. People have the right of way and a green light, but it's almost like the nice way you'd see would be like a funeral caravan, but this was just folks moving quick, and you go, where the heck are the police on something basic like that?
Yep. Again, but it's hard when you have a budget for $490 and you've got less than $350. Right. So that's where we have to enlist, like the sheriff's department or Aaliyah, to help us, and we can stop that stuff. We can. The problem is there's just nobody even nearby.
And is it? I haven't looked at the age breakdown. Are we getting younger and younger in terms of our police force? And I ask that because I think if we're losing the more experienced folks, either retirement or a nicer situation like a smaller town to police, we're losing a lot of valuable information that is hard to put a price tag on.
For sure. I mean, that's the institutional knowledge that begins leaving. And again, we're losing well-qualified officers because they don't feel the support to be able to do their job. They're taking, well, they're not even really taking pay cuts anymore. They're just going to Prattville, right, or they're going to Millbrook. Or, right. I mean, so they're leaving, not because they're leaving law enforcement. They're just leaving Montgomery law enforcement. They're going to sheriff's department. A bunch of them have left and gone to the sheriff's department.
Right. I've
yes, sir.
heard the same story. Let's go to Rick. Hey, Rick, you're on with Barrett Gilbreath.
Hey, thank you. I got a request for Mr. Gilbreath, and there was an article that was published by Josh Moon today. And in it, I think it's so misleading, which is typical, but I wanted to give Mr. Gilbreath the opportunity to clarify. The article starts out with how you fled from Montgomery, and it was, let's figure this out, it was based on race. That you left because of the black-on-black crime. And that's why you went to Florida. But I didn't understand that when I heard you say that.
No, you're right, Rick. And so we left when we left Montgomery when schools went virtual. I have an MIS degree, not an education degree. My wife's degree is in interior design, not education. We are not school teachers. I love school teachers. We're not those people. Our kids would have suffered had we had to educate them virtually at home, and I have to be the teacher in the home, or my wife has to be the teacher in the home. So we left because Florida had in-person schooling, no masks, no virtual, in-person classrooms. Walton County Public Schools, in person. That's why we left. Now, 2 years passed. We had a great experience, but we missed the community. We missed our friends. We missed our church. We missed the community. And so that's why we came back. I didn't come back here to run for mayor. I came back here because we legitimately missed our community. I still have projects going in Florida, like real estate investment projects, because we did that when we moved down there. But we didn't come back to run for mayor. But the problem is when we came back, some of the things we were unhappy with when we left were no different when we got back. In fact, some of them were worse. And I talk about the gunshots all the time. Right. And then we just talked about the murder rates. Again, do I know anyone that's been murdered? No. But should I be okay with living in a city where the rate goes up to 85 after 60 and 70? No. So my thing is, everybody I talk to, they think Montgomery's going in the wrong direction. And again, that doesn't matter your race.
Right.
It's a crime issue. So the reason I'm back was because we missed the community. But I'm the type of person where I'm not going to complain just to complain. To me, the only failure was not trying. So if I had not gotten in the race, that's not trying. I'm here because we missed Montgomery. We left so our kids could be in schools, in a classroom, and now I'm back and interested in trying to help move all of Montgomery forward.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and that's what I had understood. I wanted you to have that opportunity because I think it's a shame when we have journalists who are irresponsible and publishing stuff to make it seem that this whole race is about race. and it's not.
Well, and I'll tell you
Anyway, I'm gonna hang up.
my own personal impression, Rick, and I know which Rick this is. I know where you live, sir. Well, you know where I live too. Thanks for saying hi when I'm doing the lawn. But when I saw that this morning, I'm like, this essay or opinion piece was written long before Barrett Gilbreath's name came up. This is one of these paint by number, Mad
Fill in the
Libs
blanks.
things. It's not even that good, but I hope it doesn't work. It's a shame that it tends to be effective for
Well,
some.
you said it in the very first segment. It's disappointing.
Yeah, it is. Appreciate it, Rick.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
I think one of the things that drives me crazy, I read that this morning too, and it just about had an aneurysm. And again, that piece is literally the reason I started 1819 News. Like that's, that embodies the reason we had to start another news outlet that doesn't take money to write bad things about political opponents, right? We just write the truth. But the fact that they immediately go to race as though black people are okay with crime.
Right.
Right? And, oh, you're scared of black people. No, I actually know black people because this is a city and they're my neighbors. And they also don't like the gunshots. They also want their kids to have a good education. They also would like, we're not different, right? As much as they want to make us different, you can go around Montgomery and shake hands. We go to the cigar shop, whether we're at Cloverdale Cigar, we're at Sanctuary Cigar, and we sit down and there's always black guys right there. They're talking about the same stuff we're talking about.
Absolutely.
And it's the difference that they're trying to make with these opinion pieces and everything else to get us to hate each other isn't going to work.
I hope it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, and we're running out of time here, but when I was preparing for this interview, our second interview here, Barrett, I started thinking about a conversation I had with Mayor Reed. And this is just a description of what was said. I got into a conversation with him about, isn't it sad that all politics should be local, but all politics these days seem to be national? And that I'm seeing it with this race. I'm seeing how the attacks are kind of couched in these national memes and terms everybody uses, and we're not directly talking about the city.
I've said it from day one. If I had to pick a party to enter this race, I wouldn't be a candidate right now. We don't need more division.
Right.
I don't want to be a Democrat party, a Republican party. I want to be the Montgomery party. That's what we need here. We don't need left and right, red and blue, rich, poor, black, white. This has to be a Montgomery thing for everybody. Not my family, not your family, not their family, not every single person in Montgomery, regardless of where you live, regardless of where you go to school, regardless of where you go to church, regardless of your social circle. Every single person deserves to be safe in their neighborhoods, have clean streets, have good educational opportunities, and good career opportunities with upward mobility that you can come back to when you go off to college and come home. That's not political.
No, right.
Show me a political platform that falls under. That's just, that's here. That's local.
Well, let's fit in one last call here. Pat, you're on with Barrett Gilbreath.
Hey, Pat.
Hey, Barrett. I just wanted to call and thank you for running. I've never seen Montgomery look this bad, and I've lived here for a while. It's almost depressing. But I had a question for you. I noticed we had put up, there were multiple signs along Taylor Road in the median, and they're all gone now. I'm wondering, did the city pull them up? Do you know? Because they're finally cutting the grass, or what's the deal?
I'm not sure on that. I can tell you that most of our signs were put out because people requested them in their yards. We had some in right-of-ways that I just happened to see as I was driving, so I don't know who put them there. And thank you for putting out signs. But I don't know who.
Is that not allowed to have them in the down Taylor Road in between the highways?
I won't say it's not allowed, but I would say if they're cutting it, they probably have every right to take it out of the grass. Legally speaking, I don't know if it's against the law to put them in the median on Taylor Road. But I will say that the vast majority of our signs, which we put out over 3,000 of them.
Oh, wow.
The vast majority of them were specifically requested to go in either front yards of residences or businesses, or in commercial lots owned by people that requested the sign. So thank you for putting those out. If they were taken up, it was probably because they were cutting the grass. But they got some good visibility.
Yeah, I find it interesting that they're finally cutting the grass 2 weeks before an election.
Sure.
Appreciate the call, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome.
Well, and pretty much out of time here. Again, if folks want to volunteer here in these last few weeks or donate to your campaign, how can they do so?
Yep, go to BarrettGilbreath.com. And again, I will say it again, go to socials. Go to Barrett Gilbreath for Mayor on Facebook. There are a lot of issue-specific videos, issue-specific things, not just highlighting ideas and theory, but we're talking about the issues. So go to the Facebook page, Barrett Gilbreath for Mayor, hit on those videos. You'll learn a lot.
Excellent.
Well, I always appreciate your time, Barrett, and best of luck. And I'm hopefully we'll talk again soon before Election Day.
Absolutely. Thanks, Joey.
Thank you.